Okay, so today we're going to talk about renting versus owning. So what we're going to talk about is pretty much your monthly payments and then your net worth, the way it plays out. So we're in Pennsylvania. So in Pennsylvania, the average rent is somewhere between $1,550 to $1,800. Somewhere around there is the average for Pennsylvania. I see you, Birch. So with that being said, the average home value is about $275 for Pennsylvania, $300. So that mortgage payment, including your principal and insurance, your taxes, altogether is about $1,800. So very similar payments, right? So the big difference that when it comes to renting versus owning is here, according to I know the National Association just released information that the average renter's net worth is about $10,000, where the average homeowner's net worth is $430,000. So ultimately, when you are paying your rent of $1,800 a month, you are helping your landlord to get more money. So if you can get investments, you want to do it. If you can't, and we've all rented at different times in our life, there's nothing wrong with renting. It's just one of those things where, especially it depends on where you're at in your life, what you have going on. Renting can be great. Like if you don't want any maintenance, you know, if you're going through a divorce, if you are in between houses, if you're relocating to an area and you don't know it. You know, renting, there's a time and a place where it makes a lot of sense to rent. Like if you were living in a big city and you know you're only going to be there for 3 years and the average price point in that city is $800,000 and you would have to be putting this large sum of money down, it might not necessarily work out to be worth it. But for the state of Pennsylvania, it's pretty clear. You're paying your landlord's retirement off or you're working towards your own is the basics of it. Renting versus owning. Any questions? What? Whoa! Did you get that? Okay. So to elaborate on this, there's the idea that you have to have 20% down, which I know our last goat numbers video, we covered that. But with that being said, you do not need to have 20% down. There are 0%, which is a VA loan. There's USDA loans or 0%. With that being said, FHA is 3.5% down. You could do a 3% conventional, and then conventional goes all the way up to the 20%. So it's one of those things where you do not need to have a crazy amount of money to start. You don't have to have a crazy amount. I mean, for that matter, if you're going to rent, you got to do first month's, last month's, and then whatever the security is on top of it. So by that point, you got a good chunk going towards it already, right? What do you think, Rose? What do you think, Birch? Are you going to chew on my shirt? Don't eat my shirt, Birch. Ow! All right. So yeah, renting versus owning, there's a time that it makes sense to rent. We've all done it at different points in our lives. It's just ultimately when you're talking about wealth for yourself, a generational wealth, you want to get in. And yes, I took a lot of chemistry courses with all the arrows. You want to get into owning as soon as you can, especially in Pennsylvania. Any other questions, goats?